I carry from my heart, and I carry a big heart. With the underscore dry because they have done a lot of harm to me and my family. So that is the heart that I carry. So that is why I jumped to kill those underscore kid and of the 54 old man Lynn's wife had remained silent for a long time, keeping her thoughts and feelings hidden behind a mask of serenity and strength. However, now that her husband had returned to the streets and the situation had reached a critical point, she decided to break her silence and speak about her husband's true nature in an exclusive interview with a journalist. Old man Lynn's wife spoke frankly about the life they shared together, revealing intimate and emotional details that until now had remained in the shadows. She began by talking about how she met Lynn, describing their meeting as that of two lost souls who found each other amidst the darkness and chaos of life. In the gang, as the interview progressed, Lena's wife spoke about the complexity of her husband, about the duality of his nature. On the one hand, he was a feared and respected leader in the gang world, capable of committing acts of extreme violence in the name of his gang. But on the other hand, he was a man who deeply loved his family, who cared about the well-being of his children, and who longed for a better life for them. She described how Lena had been drawn into the gang world at a young age, how he had been influenced by the circumstances of his environment, and how, despite everything, he remained a man of principles and values. She spoke about how he struggled with his own inner demons, how he sometimes found himself caught between the desire to protect his family and the duty to lead his gang. But most revealing of all was when Lynn's wife spoke about his escape from prison and return to the gang streets. Contrary to what many might expect, she no longer condemned or criticized him. Instead, she spoke about his return with a mixture of resignation and understanding. She knew that her husband was a man destined to live on the streets, that his loyalty to his gang and his lifestyle was unwavering. However, despite everything, old man Lynn's wife remained a woman of strength and resilience. Although she loved her husband and supported his decisions, she was also aware of the dangers and consequences of his lifestyle. She was determined to protect her children and keep them away from the gang world, to give them a better life than her husband could ever have. At the end of the interview, old man Lynn's wife made a plea to the community and the authorities. She asked for understanding and empathy toward her husband. She asked that his humanity be recognized behind the mask of violence and criminality. She also asked that he be given a chance at redemption, finding a path to a better life for himself and his family. The interview with old man Lynn's wife was a moving and revealing account of the complexity of human nature. It was a reminder that behind every person there is a story of hope and struggle, a story that deserves to be heard and understood. Was the story of old man Lynn's wife. Old man Lynn's wife, whose name was Elena, had a story as complicated and fascinating as her husband's. Her life had been marked by adversity and sacrifice, but also by love and loyalty to her family. Elena had met Lynn when they were both teenagers living in the same gang-dominated neighborhood. From the moment they met, they knew they were destined for each other, despite the warnings of their friends and family. Elena fell deeply in love with Lynn, seeing in him a different man behind his gang member facade. As their relationship developed, Elena began to see the true Lynn, beyond his reputation in the streets. She discovered he was a man of principles and values who fought to protect his family in a world full of dangers and challenges. Despite the difficulties, they decided to marry and build a life together. However, Elena's life with Lynn wasn't easy. As he rose through the ranks of the gang, they faced numerous challenges and dangers. Elena knew her husband was a dangerous man, but she also knew he was a man who loved his family above all else. When Lynn was arrested and sentenced to prison, Elena faced a new reality. Despite the distance and separation, she kept alive the hope that one day they would be together again. For years, she visited Lynn in prison, bringing him news of the family and reminding him that she would always be with him. There, for him, Ellen's return to the streets was a moment of joy and concern. For Elena, on the one hand, she was happy to have seeing her husband back by her side, but on the other hand, she feared for his safety and the uncertain future that awaited them. Despite everything, she remained a woman of strength and determination, ready to face any challenge that came her way. As Elena's story unfolded, her role in the community was also revealed. She was a respected and admired figure, known for her generosity and her ability to maintain peace and harmony among the neighborhood's residents, despite her connection to the gang world through her husband. Elena was seen as a beacon of hope and goodness in a place dominated by violence and chaos. What were the three events that marked the life of Old Man Lin's wife? Number 1. The encounter with Old Man Lin. Elena's encounter with Old Man Lin was a moment that changed her life forever. They met in a neighborhood marked by violence and chaos. Of the gangs, a place where hope and love seemed to be absent. However, from the moment they met, Elena saw something special in Lin, something no one else seemed to notice. Lin wasn't simply a gang leader. He was a man of principles and values, someone who fought to protect his own in a world full of dangers despite the warnings of his friends and family. Elena fell deeply in love with Lin, seeing in him a kindred spirit she had found in the midst of darkness. Their relationship defied all odds. Together, they faced the hostility of those around them and built a life together based on love and loyalty. For Elena, Lin was her rock, her source of strength and determination in a world that often seemed to be against her. Number 2. The separation due to Lin's prison sentence took Lena's life an unexpected turn when Lin was arrested and sentenced to prison. The separation was devastating for her. Facing the reality of raising her children alone without the protective presence of her husband, despite the distance, Lena never lost faith in Lin, visiting him regularly in prison and bringing him news of the family. Lin's imprisonment was a testing period for Elena, who had to find the strength and determination to keep her family together in the midst of adversity. Through all her love for Lin, she never wavered, demonstrating her unwavering dedication to her husband and family. Number 3. Old Elena's return to the streets marked a new chapter in Elena's life. After years of being apart, she finally had her husband back by her side. Although this was a source of joy for her, it also brought with it new worries and challenges. Elena knew that life with Lin would not be easy. She knew they would have to face the dangers and challenges of the gang world once again. However, she was willing to face any challenge with courage and determination, knowing that together they could overcome any obstacle that came their way. By the way, if you enjoy the video, we invite you to give us your like and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. We continue. Old Man Lin truly loved his wife. Yes, Old Man Lin deeply loved his wife Elena, despite his life in the gang world and the difficult decisions he had to make. His love for Elena was a fundamental part of his life. Elena was his rock, his source of strength and motivation to be better through all the trials and tribulations they faced together. Their love remained steadfast and constant. Lin saw Elena as his anchor in a tumultuous and violent world. Their relationship was a refuge of love and warmth amidst the chaos that surrounded him. Despite the adverse circumstances, Lin always sought to protect her, Elena and her family, prioritizing their safety and well-being above all else. Lin's love for Elena was evident in his actions and decisions. Although his life took them down dangerous and difficult paths, he always considered the impact his decisions would have on her and his family. His love for Elena was a driving force that kept him going. Even in the darkest moments of his life, how Old Man Lin's wife reacted to learning that he had been captured. The news of Old Man Lin's capture had a profound impact on Elena, his wife, even though she knew that life with Lin entailed constant risks and dangers. The news hit her hard. For years, he had been her support and rock, and the idea that he would now be behind bars again, far from her and his family, was difficult for her to accept. Elena experienced a mixture of emotions upon learning of Lin's capture. On the one hand, she was relieved that the search was over and that her husband was safe, at least for the moment. She knew he would be in custody, and that meant she wouldn't be in immediate danger on the streets. However, she also experienced deep sadness and worry. She knew Lynn would face serious consequences for her actions and that their future would be uncertain. Furthermore, the idea of being separated again after having fought so hard to keep their family together during their previous incarceration was especially painful. Despite her conflicting emotions, Elena remained strong and determined. She knew she had to be a source of support and strength for Lynn during this difficult time. She continued to visit him in prison, bringing him news of the family and reminding him that she would always be there for him no matter what. For Elena, Lynn's capture was a reminder of the volatile and dangerous nature of the life they had chosen together. However, it was also a reminder of their unwavering love for each other and their ability to face the toughest challenges together through all their love and loyalty. Their mutuality remained the driving force that kept them together. Even in the darkest moments, this is how we come to the end of this video. If you liked it, I invite you to give us a like so we can continue making more videos like this. Also, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. I wish you a great day until next time.